When I'm asked what my favourite Star Wars Clone Wars arc is, I usually give one of two answers. The first of which is the Mortis God arc in Season 3. I think it's absolutely brilliantly done in a way that expands the universe. And of course, you've got three of my favourite Star Wars characters in there. You've got Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka. And of course, the second answer to what is your favourite arc is, of course, the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars. Season 7, The Siege of Mandalore, and in particular, that very final episode, Victory and Death. I think it is absolutely stunning. It is a culmination of everything that you've gone through in the first 7 seasons, plus of course the movie with Ahsoka, and in particular Rex, two of my absolute favourite characters in all of Star Wars. And the last scene is absolutely beautiful, and it is something that I am going to attempt to recreate in Lego form today. You might be thinking, how is this going to be achieved? And you wouldn't be wrong, because I've tossed and turned about how I would potentially do this in a diorama mock style form. And what I've eventually plummeted for is the idea of doing a mock split. So doing a split straight down the middle, recreating as best I can some form of Venator wreckage in the middle, and splitting the sides, having a snowy side with Vader on in that very final scene, and also having a side where you've got Ahsoka and potentially even Rex, and a place for that mini Y-Wing microfighter that we got last year. And whilst I did, of course, pick up the 332nd Battle Pack when it did come out in 2023, I thought it was best that I pick another one up just for this project. And I managed to pick this up for a very good price, considering it has been retired since the end of last year. So we're going to bust the clones out of here. I do have some that will be in my next Whatnot stream, but these ones I'm going to bust out, and yeah, let's get working on it. And some rare footage of me front on doing a time lapse, and it wasn't really a build, it's just putting the 4 clone helmets out, and the other clones may well get sold off on my next Whatnot stream. But if you want to see what this build looks like, you can sort of skip ahead to about 3 minutes from the end of the video, and you'll see kind of what the final result looks like. And for those that are more interested in the process and kind of how I came around to what I was going to do, just stick around, and I'll show you what we got up to. So there's the base. That's the minor park constraint there. You can see on the dark bluish grey plate, but all in all, it's pretty good. The only thing I've got to work out now is whether or not the size is going to be sufficient to get 2 scenes in this, and if not, then we're going to have to go and buy some more black plate and brick. So let's see how we get on putting the basics in there. The next thing to do was almost Mills plate, well, Mills plate like the inside of the black box, allowing us to put a whole bunch of tiles and plates on top. And I basically had to work out where I wanted the mountain to start and where I wanted all of the crashed wreckage of the ship to end up going. And that was probably the most challenging part of this build, was to work out just where everything should go with limited space to work with. I didn't want it to look too cramped. Naturally, if I had more space or bigger plates, it would potentially allow me to do a little bit more in this space. But as you can see, it is starting to come together, and we basically put down what I wanted the wreckage pieces to look like: big grey plates. Then we worked out how to sort of put them on hinge bricks and attach the hinge bricks to the very base of the plate, and allow us to move it around a little bit and create some diagonal angles that would allow us to make it look as though the Venator had actually crashed into the sort of mountain terrain. And that was probably the most time consuming and challenging part of this build, but I thoroughly enjoyed what the result looks like. Okay, so that is a day's work, and I'm going to leave it there. Don't worry, this is all going to be in one video, but this is where I'm at so far, and I'm pretty pleased with it. You got the look of the crashed Venator in the backdrop there, some sort of snot angles there to try and sort of angle things. I didn't want everything to be flat and bricky. I wanted everything to be sort of skewed and needs to look like it crashed, and yeah, I think we're getting close to what that should look like. So yeah, stay tuned. So that is where we are at, and I've got Rex's Y-wing next to it as well. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with that. I might stand off to the side of it. I'm probably going to take Rex's helmet off and try and put it in his hand with a couple of pieces. And you've got a couple of 332nd there, and I'm waiting on a few 501st. I'm also waiting on a hooded cloak, sort of cloth piece for Ahsoka as well, because you can't... yeah, she's got a sort of cloak on in that scene. It'll be very difficult, of course, to get it over the Laku, but I'd rather just commit to having her in the sort of cloak piece rather than trying to work out how to get it over the Laku. I'd rather just have it. And as you can see in the background, crashed bits of a Venator, which I've managed to put on with a whole bunch of snot bricks and stuff, so they're fairly robust. It looks slightly like it's wobbly, but it does look crashed, which I really like. And then I'll show you the other side. So this side needs a little bit more work. It needs a little bit more snow packed into the 332nd helmet in, which is being held in with a sort of Technic piece, a sort of stud with a clip in it, and yeah, you can it sort of won't move. Sort of moves the whole thing. And you've got Ahsoka's lightsaber in there as well, and Vader, who will come in as soon as I've sort of put a bit more snow and mountainous sort of terrain in there. I do need to fill it out with a little bit more grey from the Venator, and also a few more splashes of snow as well, just to sort of finish off the look. And that is kind of how it's going to go. I'll probably texture a little bit more of this snow. But yeah, we're getting there. It's kind of almost there. We're just waiting on a few things. Those 501st, the sort of hooded cloak piece for Ahsoka. I keep forgetting what the name of that is. A cape for Ahsoka. And yeah, the next clip you should see should be of a almost complete mock, I would think. A couple more days have gone by, and I've only got a couple of touches left to do to the mock, so you will see it within the next minute or so, assuming you haven't already skipped ahead. What I did want to do was add a couple of capes to Ahsoka, just to make it slightly more scene accurate. And we've just announced the new Whatnot streams over the weekend of the 15th of March for the Disney Enchanted Spring event, and we'll be doing a load of giveaways, Disney and Star Wars stuff as well. So I thought I'd pick up another 501st pack, so I can use the two sort of figures in there and add them to the scene on Ahsoka's side of the diorama, where you've got the 332nd helmet. So I'm going to put a couple of helmets on there, and I will end up auctioning off at £1 start a couple of 501st. So make sure you go and bookmark that stream on Whatnot. All the links will be in the bio. Let's crack on with finalising this diorama, because goodness knows it has taken quite some time to do. That looks a load better. It's a shame I can't get it over the Laku, but yeah, that's just the way it's going to be, unfortunately, until they make a custom, and I don't really want to have a custom in here. That'll just have to do. And I've also added the 501st as well for the eagle-eyed. I'm going to touch it up a bit, and then you can see the final result. So I'm just going to show you this first, which is how it will be displayed, which is with Rex off to the side there with his little Y-wings. Finally coming useful, that Y-wing from last year. But it's just in case when I put it on the table you're a bit confused as to why Rex has just stood there. It's not necessarily canonically accurate, but yeah, it'll go displayed next to a Y-wing, and let me show you what it looks like. And there we go, and it's probably 85–90% done. There are some little touches I want to make to both sides of the diorama, but you get what we're going for here, and I am generally pretty pleased, particularly with the crashed Venator that is in there. You've got the two base colours in there, the grey and the red, and I've tried to create wreckage without any illegal building techniques. I've tried to make sure everything's either on a hinge plate underneath or is attached with snot, and that's allowed me to create some sort of diagonal angles, so it actually looks as though the wreckage has been created naturally, as it were. And let's put it up on the trestle table as to show you all the different angles that you can see this from. It's very clear what I've gone for with Vader's side. I've gone for the snow. The very two things that I needed to sort of get right, in my opinion, was making sure we had the 332nd helmet on the floor, and that we had Vader with that blue lightsaber at the very end. You can see on Ahsoka's side, we've put the cape on, and we've got some 332nd and 501st. I did go and check that to make sure that there was accurate, and the 5 closest to Ahsoka helmets are a 332nd and a 501st in the order that I've got it lined up there. Try to create some mountain terrain. I've done this before with the Mandalore set, and yeah, overall pretty pleased with it. My wife said it looks as though it is a real set, so I will take that as a huge compliment, and yeah, pretty pleased with it. Let me know what you want to see me build next on the channel. I've absolutely loved this one, my favourite Clone Wars episodes, and what a shot to end it on. Take care.